I love that music so much. Never gets old hearing it. I don't think it does for you guys either, does it? No. You've got to say no. You've got to say no because the guy who composed it, who arranged it and mixed it, he's probably in the chat. If he isn't in the chat now, he will be a little later on, I'm sure. Welcome back to the Spacebook, the best channel that you'd never heard of. If you're here for the first time, we'll come to all of that in a little while. But yeah, this is Type 40 Live. Doctor Who talk for a couple of hours-ish on an afternoon here. But it could be different. It could be different for you, whatever time zone or time stream you are joining us from out there in the Whoniverse. I am in Hall H, as you can see, but I'm all alone. Yeah, the H stands for Hadley. This time, having a Comic-Con all of my own, but you're all invited. Yeah, see who you all are while I'm here. Oh, we've got a few regulars. Vanessa Law. Hi, Vanessa. Good to see you. Thanks for coming back. Who else is here? Daniel Leach says hello all. Good to see you too, Daniel. How are you keeping? Haven't seen you around for a little while. Hope you're okay. A little bit of confusion over the start time today on YouTube. Apparently, they've been sending out notices with the wrong time on. Now, I don't know what's been going on there. We may be Time Lords, but YouTube is YouTube, isn't it? I don't know if that was an American time or what. I'm not sure what time it is in the States. I'm sure somebody will be able to tell me. But yeah, we apologise for the confusion. I'm glad you can join us anyway. Who else is here? Crimpline Doubloon says hello, shipmates. Jonathan Cox is also here. Hello. And a big greetings and felicitations. Hope all are well from our mate Darren M there. And Darren Powis, good to see you too. Darren, keeping out of trouble? No? Good. Thought not. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Dan. Good afternoon, lovely people in the chat. Oh, spreading the love. Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks. It's great to see you all. I'm glad you've joined us again. Yeah, and if you were here over the last couple of weeks, we've been on a break. We've been on what we call a mid-season break. And in the meantime, we put out a couple of videos which have gone down really, really well. So if you haven't caught them, here they are. There was 2 videos out over the last fortnight, and they were pre-recorded videos of the last 2 actual podcasts. So we've got episode 81 and 82. One was called Hooked on Classics. That was myself, Simon Horton, and Barnaby Jago talking about the old days, really, about the methods they used to use to record Doctor Who on back in the day. Simon, of course, being a TV industry insider, he gave us all of this sort of technical jargon in plain English, while myself and Barnaby, we sort of stared at it all like cavemen coming into the light. So that was a lot of fun. There was lots more classic Doctor Who talk there. And then last time, there was the big 3, our big 3rd birthday episode there with our guests from the True Believers podcast. That was Kyle Wagner and Kevin Reitzel back on the show after 2 or 3 years. So we had a good natter there about all of geek culture and Doctor Who's place in it in 2021, specifically going into Comic-Con season. Because, of course, usually this time of year, Comic-Con, it's the biggest show in the geek calendar, isn't it? And over in San Diego, it's sort of infested with people in cosplay or whatever. But the last couple of years with the coronavirus, the pandemic, it hasn't been able to happen. But there has been a panel this week and a trailer, a teaser or teaser trailer of sorts. I'll let you decide which one that was. Whilst I've got some other things to show you, actually, come to think of it. So, yes, there are other Doctor Who items out and about before we get into it. And I've got a question for you guys, because we have this piece of merchandise here. This was released, a picture of this, was released last week. And it is it's this is from the Big Bad Toy Store, believe it or not. And it is the 13th Doctor's console from inside the TARDIS, so you can get an authentic replica of this made in resin, highly detailed, so it says in the old inverted commas, the 13th Doctor's TARDIS. After centuries left stranding on the planet Desolation as a ghost monument, the TARDIS interior had developed an all-new look with a warm orange colour scheme and glowing giant crystals extended from every corner of the control room, with a steampunk console built around a central crystalline spire. Oh, they don't often go on, don't they? A lot of words in there. But yeah, this caused quite a lot of hilarity on social media because on its own, separated away from the set, I always thought it was a bit of an ugly design anyway, but you put this in the form of a collectible to go into the average fan's home. thought, wow, imagine if you slipped and fell on that. But what I wanted to know from you guys watching there on YouTube or on Facebook, because we are streaming live to YouTube, the world's largest streaming platform, as always, and over onto Facebook, onto the Type 40 Facebook group and Facebook page. What I'd like to know from all of you guys is, what would be a great purpose for this, a practical purpose to use this for in the average family home? Now, I'll say it now. If you can keep it clean, that would be great. But it depends on how late it is in other parts of the world. Yeah, we'll have to vet some of these answers, I think. We'll have to, what have I let myself in for, JT?
Well, I'm still waiting to hear from them as to where the batteries go.
Well, looking at it, I'd say there's only one place they can go.
Yes, and then that lovely, lovely reassuring up and down movement will while you're hours away, I'm sure. Hi, Facebookers, how you doing?
Of your cockles. Yes, good to see you, JT. How are you? You've been keeping.
I'm marvellous, thank you. Welcome back to Scotland, the home of Batman, the Flash, and Indiana Jones. Hey.
Yes, it does seem like Doctor Who is the only thing that's not filming in Scotland at the moment.
Well, good. Because I'd be there. I would be there. Daniel Leach would be there. We'd all be like, we would be lining up to get. Hey, by the way, we would. By the way.
Oh, just imagine they wouldn't know what they let themselves in for, would they, Daniel? Yeah. I can only imagine. But have you been watching any Doctor Who in the last couple of weeks that have been away?
I have. I finished the re-releases of the Blu-ray box sets. Because there's 4 available now, so I've finished those. Really enjoyed them. I thought the quality on there was fantastic, so I'm really happy with those. And then what did I watch the other day that I thought was very, very bizarre? Oh, I watched Monster Peladon. Proper Doctor Who.
Did you do it all in one day, all 6 episodes?
I did all 6 episodes in one evening.
Blimey, that's brave. I struggle with that one a little. I don't mind telling you. I struggle with a lot of the Pertwee 6-parters. That's something that, it's my bogey era, I always describe it as. I wonder if they've got a bogey era. How do you get on with the 6-part stories from the classic era, Charlotte? Do you find them a bit of a treat?
I do struggle. It depends on the story. I think, what was it, Mysterious Planet? I was like, by the time I got to the 3rd episode, I was like, oh, please, this is 6 episodes.
No, that was only 4, Mysterious Planet, because that was the Trial of a Time Lord, unless you count it as being 13, in which case you were.
No, which one was it with the insects? William Hart.
Oh, the Web Planet. Yeah. The 6-parters are always hit and miss because they're effectively, as identified years later by both Biolights and JNT, 4-parter with a 2-parter added on.
Yeah.
Or really, I mean, I had a problem with the Green Death, which I know is a huge favourite with lots of our colleagues, but I do have a problem with it. I think that can be 4. I
think that one really rips along. So yes, welcome back, Charlotte Shields. Welcome back to Type 40 Live. It's good to see you again. But yeah, as somebody who is discovering the classic show, aren't you, sort of week by week, picking your way through it? But when you have these longer stories of 6, 7, sometimes 8-part stories, some do work better than others, don't they?
Yeah, I think there's plenty of Troughton 6-parters that I think are perfect. Like, the pace is right. They feel like they should be 6 parts, but I think some of them, it's like they almost had the core of the story, but by the 4th part, it's like they've almost given themselves too much to do. And it's like, maybe you should have rung it back a bit.
Economy in script writing and in production. And I know somebody who knows all about that because he is a screenwriter, he is a producer, he is a director, and he's an expert in cutting the fat off anything creative you can possibly name. It can only
Is it Steven Spielberg? Is it Steven Spielberg?
It's even better. It's yes, I know, brace yourself. It's Ian David Diaz, the Mega Geek.
Woo!
You're terrible.
How's that for a build-up? Have you ever had a better build-up ever in your life?
Yeah.
We won't go into that because it involved a Saturday night in a very dodgy club in Peckham.
Absolutely. It wasn't Peckham, it was Balham. Yeah.
Balham. There you go.
Yes, it starts as you mean to go on, everybody. Please like the video. You don't get this sort of banter on Radio Free Scaro, do you? Like the video now, subscribe to the channel because we do this all the time, and hit the cloister bell so you get those notifications so you know when we're going to do it all over again. But yeah, what I wanted to ask you both, Charlotte and Ian, is about this. So yeah, the image I flashed up on screen a moment ago, can you think of any household
Matron years.
for this particular item here.
Silence.
No,
A doorstop?
I think
doorstop?
a doorstop.
Yeah,
That's not a
doorstop.
bad one. That's not. a
Hi,
bad
Nikki.
one. We had somebody had a good. Yeah, Vanessa mentioned something in the chat earlier on. She'll have to put it in again. I think I've lost what her answer was. Well, I've got. Well, I've got an answer here. So I've got us an answer. This was my idea. I thought it'd be brilliant for squeezing a lemon with.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah. I guess.
It's clean and it's healthy, everybody.
No.
It's got the same color as well. There you
Sort
go.
of. Yeah, that may have had something to do with it. Let's get that back in the chat. It looks like the kind of thing they'd sell on my dirty hobby. I'm not going to even ask what that is. Oh, is that?
Well, Will, can I ask
We
him?
don't want to know. We don't want to know, Sadaka.
Don't.
I do. Private message me.
Oh god! Yeah, so keep the answers coming with that one. I think keep it coming. We'll keep that open the entire show. The Rabbi from Another Planet. Don't miss the Rabbi from Another Planet. He's streaming directly after us on YouTube with his naughty live stream, and he says the War Games was an excellent 10-parter that flew by. I'm with the Rabbi. I love the War Games. Every minute of that is gold. How do you feel about the longer stories, Ian? Do you because you've just watched an entire season, haven't you, on Blu-ray? So some of the longer ones, they.
I don't mind them. I don't mind them, especially if you like the person that's playing the Doctor. And I love John Pertwee, so it does help. It really does help, you know. And because John Pertwee is so amazing as the Doctor, even though you see a little bit of crappy effects from time to time, you forget it because it's John Pertwee. Do you know what I mean? So I don't mind the long stories at all. Not at all.
Planet of the Daleks, though. Somebody you put something up there. Somebody was watching Planet of the Daleks. Sorry, I didn't see who it was out of the Space Bookers. That could have been a 4-parter, dead easy. Yeah, and Pertwee would have still shone in that. You know, he would have had more control over it, I think.
Yeah.
Crimpling Doubloon says, offers us some tips here on viewing. I find 6-parters best watched 1 episode per evening, like enjoying one slice of a cake over a week rather than scoffing the lot in one sitting.
I agree.
How
totally agree.
wise and sensible, and the NHS would definitely agree with that. Dear. Vanessa says, hello,
Hi,
JT.
Vanessa. How you doing?
Hello to you. And yeah,
Crimpling, some of us are very greedy, though, and need it all at once.
Nikki Small in there too. Hello, all good to see you. Yeah. So here we are. We've got more comments from about the War Games here.
Yeah,
Daniel Leach says the War Games is a masterpiece. And Vanessa Law says, I love the Daleks Master Plan, even though most of it was missing. Yeah. Rips along, and Digby Strawbridge mentions Power of the Daleks is an excellent 6-parter. That's a story that's really come into its own in appreciation over the last few years, is it, through the animations and various other things. I think its myth has sort of built around it rather. And Sadako adds that some 6-parters could do with having been trimmed down to 4, like the Armageddon Factor. The Chase? No. I can't believe what I'm reading here, JT. The Chase.
Are you all right there? Do you need a drink?
The Chase,
Old Hadley.
the Chase leads in very nicely, I think, to what has to be our main story going into this live stream. Because we have had 2 days ago, there was a major revelation from the BBC in Doctor Who terms, which doesn't take much in 2021. Really, they do sort of drip out bits and bobs more so. So Comic-Con 2021 kicked off over the weekend. I think it started on Friday and it ran through till Sunday, may even ran into Monday. As was traditional, people would pack out a hall like the hall you see behind me now, didn't they? Hundreds of people in these cavernous spaces celebrating all of the biggest in geek culture. So mainly franchises, all those big movies, the Marvel movies, the Star Wars movies, the big TV shows and the big franchises such as Star Trek and Doctor Who, up until recent times, would get that spotlight on that stage, taking questions from the audience. But they can't do that at the moment, can they? Because of the pandemic. They did put out a panel called Comic-Con at Home. I think they did this last year too. But it was a makeshift thing. But this year, they were able to deliver something that was a little bit of a halfway house as Comic-Con at home. Isn't that sweet? Yeah, I agree.
Cute.
So when they said there was going to be a Doctor Who panel, they started putting out this graphic here to remind us that Jodie Whittaker was going to be there along with Mandip Gill. John Bishop, and the World's Worst Showrunner, Chris Chibnall, and a very special surprise guest, and this really subtle graphic, everybody.
I've not seen that, actually. That graphic passed me by.
It gets worse. It gets worse with rainbows yet. We've not got to the trailer.
Oh, I like a rainbow. Rainbows are good, yeah.
Believe it or not, they can get even more on the nose. Even more on the nose than that. So, yeah, that was 6 p.m. our time, 25th of July, 2021. That was the Sunday just gone. And yes, it was the big Comic-Con panel. And I think that for people outside of the UK who don't really know him, to them, the name John Bishop doesn't really mean anything. But to us, John Bishop is a stand-up comedian, isn't he? I think he's been selling out dates up and down the country for around 10 years now, JT. Very popular, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's popular. He's been around a lot. What can I say? This is one of his first goes at acting.
He's not Peter Kay popular, but
no, God, Peter Kay's huge. I mean, Peter Kay doesn't need to work.
Yeah, so obviously this was the first chance that a lot of people, international audiences, had to meet. Why have I got? There we are.
To meet JT.
I've got to meet.
Yeah, 150 quid, Charlotte, each.
And they confirmed that John Bishop's character would be named Dan Lewis in the upcoming season. That is all they really let on. Now,
do you know John Bishop was on Graham Norton and with some huge American stars, and they didn't understand a word he was saying.
Oh, really?
They don't understand how the Americans going to understand. If they don't change his accent, if they don't tell him to slow down, the Americans are going to be very puzzled what this guy is.
Well, the character is from Liverpool, isn't it? Mega geeky.
Yeah, so we know very, very little about this character going forward, but there was a little bit of the publicity blurb here, which I'm going to read out now. It says, as he becomes embroiled in adventure, Dan will quickly learn there's more to the universe, but they've put universes, than he could ever believe. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that got us all thinking, because let's be honest, a great many of us are not. I mean, I'm no fan of the current era. JT, you're certainly not. Ian, it's worn you down a little bit, hasn't it? Where do you stand? I was going to say, where do you stand with it, Charlotte? For the people who may not know, we've not been big fans, but usually when they bring in a new character into something like this, it does refresh things, doesn't it? It does give it potentially a new energy. But I was wondering, we've had this panel, and when I was watching this panel on this from Comic-Con over the weekend, to me, I think John Bishop stood out as being the most, the keenest and the warmest presence. So he was the one who was the most engaging. He was the one who was the most entertaining. He was the one who was grinning from ear to ear, and it felt genuine. So if this is the first instance of him really meeting the Doctor Who fans, Charlotte, how do you think he managed?
I think he stole the show, and I had a feeling before the panel he was going to be the one entertaining factor. Because think about his job. He's a stand-up comedian. He has to have the patter. He has to interact with people. If you can't do that as a comedian, you can't do your job. Whereas Jodie's an actress. Monique's technically an actress. So it's like...
Allegedly.
Yeah. Well, we learned she didn't have to audition. So it was like, okay.
Oh. Yeah, that was a new nugget we got on this panel, wasn't it?
Yeah. Really?
There was no audition process for her to play, yes.
But the moment I really actually thought, wow, with John, was he was talking about being in the TARDIS for the first time. And this is a guy who's not like a known Doctor Who fan. He's not like a known figure. And he was so enthusiastic. And he was so like happy. And he was saying how much of an honour it was. And I just thought, when has Whittaker ever said any of those words? When has Whittaker ever shown any excitement?
Meow.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. And although she was she turned it on, she was flashing the teeth and she was doing the starry thing. it doesn't come across. I've never met the woman. She might. This is the disclaimer that I've always got to give. I've never met the woman. She may be lovely, but there's a lack of sincerity there, I think, and a lack of genuine warmth that you got with John Bishop, because he's used to work in a crowd as well. Do you think, Charlotte?
Yeah, but like I said, it's more a genuine warmth towards Doctor Who. That's what I got from him talking about being on the TARDIS, because he was saying it's like this really iconic thing. He was saying it's amazing once you get on there, and like when Jodie speaks, a lot of it is not to do with that. It's to do with, oh, I'm gonna little girls and all this and all the politics.
Yeah, she never really turns the ideology down, does she? No, I just want to say hello to Simon Horton watching in the chat at the moment. Sorry I can't be there, folks. Miss you all. We miss you too. We hope you've enjoyed your break. Simon's been away on holiday, keeping out of mischief, I hope, or not very likely. Yeah, we've got a little quote here from John Bishop, who said that I have had an amazing 9 months making this, and still more to come, because they are still filming this. This is the first official picture of my character Dan with Yaz and the Doctor. Jodie and Mandeep have been brilliant, he says, and as has everyone on the show. So I hope you like it when it's out in the autumn. And they did release this first.
Nobody's obviously told them about the previous 2 series they've done.
Well, they do. I suppose they do make a show like this. They kind of make it in a bubble at the best of times, don't they? Even when there's not a pandemic, because of the massive amount of secrecy, and because, as you say, Charlotte, he was no fan. He's a very, very busy professional entertainer, working most evenings. I would imagine maybe even 2 shows on a Sunday. So it's quite likely that he hasn't had a chance to catch this era, really, Ian. What do you think?
What do I think of the panel? Of
John Bishop, and what do you think he's going to bring to the show?
Well, John Bishop he's not going to bring much to the show. He's going to be John Bishop, isn't he? Because this Doctor Who era, and I haven't seen much. I saw the first season, and that was enough for me. But what I've noticed is that the direction in the show, the first season, is non-existent. They seem to all rely on what people can bring to the table, rather than putting them in the right direction of a character. So John Bishop's going to be playing John Bishop. Mandy Gill's going to be playing a plank as always, and Jodie's going to be, Jodie, basically the children entertainer. So this panel, when I watched the panel, I watched all of it. Mind you, I was working at the time, so I was listening mostly. It just came across as really insincere. It didn't feel like they meant anything they said. They didn't give anything away. They're talking about monsters. They're talking about this is one long story, that obviously going to end in cliffhangers and stuff like that. And and they showed us a trailer that didn't show us anything, and the trailer was lackluster. And what can I say? It's this show, I've really lost interest in it.
We've got millions of us have, Ian, haven't they?
Yeah. For my perspective of it is that when they're bringing somebody like John Bishop, they're doing exactly the same as they did with Bradley Walsh. They are mainlining his popularity that he will bring with him. That audience who like him.
I find that sad, Dan. I find it really sad.
It says to me that Chris Chibnall hasn't got confidence in the characters that he is there to build through script.
If you just listen to the way he spoke, right? He knows nothing about nothing. It's so obvious that he doesn't really know about Doctor Who, because when you have interviews with Moffat and the other showrunners, they were all talking. They were all like, "Yes, we're going to do this with Doctor Who." They all got involved in the Comic-Con. They all were speaking. They were all, it was like synergy. But with this, he must have said what, maybe 5 sentences.
That many? Wow!
And the whole of the whole thing, and I was like, why isn't he speaking more? Why isn't he talking more?
Playing devil's advocate, they haven't got the live audience to play off in this scenario. They are in a little theatre somewhere being asked questions by somebody else coming through an internet link. But I know exactly what you mean. And the fact, I was just thinking with what you were saying there, Charlotte, about the fact that Mandeep didn't have to audition. John Bishop is not going to have had to audition to play John Bishop, as you don't audition somebody to play. So that's 2 people who never really auditioned. apparently Jodie Whittaker did do an audition, JT. I don't know if you ever remember hearing that story about her. She did some sort of audition, again, over the internet. This is pre-pandemic as well, for Piers Wenger, where she used bits of an old mobile phone and an old iPhone to make out that she was inventing something. But that was about the limit of it. It was a formality, I always think. So we've got three actors here who haven't had to audition.
It wasn't an audition, it was a screen test. And the only thing for that is, of course, that apparently there were other actresses in the frame, but it was always Whittaker. We know that. Chibnall has said that he wanted Whittaker, but he did have, as you would normally do, a couple of reserves. So from what I understand, the thing she did to give to Piers Wenger is so that he could give it the tick box exercise of, yes, that's okay, because it's his channel, he's the commission editor, etc., etc., etc. And that's more or less standard. Capaldi did something round at Moffat's house, if you remember, on camera. Yes. One evening. So it's the same sort of thing, so that the big wig at the BBC can say, I signed that off. It's not an audition.
Yeah, but the thing is with Chibnall, he just looked like he wanted to run out of that theatre at any second.
Yeah.
He was
very
like,
awkward, wasn't he?
His hands were like twiddling. It was just like, mate, you can't be a marketer. Like, as part of a showrunner, you almost need to be a showman. That's the better word, actually. You need to be a showman.
He's not.
Yeah, and he isn't, though. I mean, the man is a charisma void, and he's very, very awkward. You put him on a stage as well with three people. I'm going to be really generous here. Three people who are trained performers. He looks like what he is, an awkward, geeky little writer who spends most of his time shut away in his room, banging out words. And I'm not going to judge anybody for that, because a writer's life is a writer's life. And a great many people would love that job, and it's definitely a craft, and I respect it enormously. But on the other hand, when somebody comes to this stage, to this forum, and they look so uncomfortable, and more to the point, no matter how much he tells me that he's proud of this product, somehow, Ian, I don't believe him. Why is that?
Because he's talking crap, and he knows the people that are sitting there, apart from John Bishop. I doubt if John Bishop knows anything about this. All of them know the show is failing.
It has failed.
It has absolutely critically and commercially failed. Yeah. And he comes across as somebody who is
well, John Bishop just wants money, just like everybody else. The reason why Kevin Smith did the Master Universe, because he needed the money, and the reason why John Bishop is doing this, because he needs the money. They don't want to go against the establishment and lose a wage or a job or whatever. So they're never going to talk about the elephant in the room ever.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. That this is the one thing they won't talk about in public, right? And this I actually felt disgusted watching this, especially the presenter who was bigging it all up. And we all know there's a problem with this show, but yet no one wants to talk about it. Which I'm fed up with it all.
They were soft, but they were very, very soft questions. In fact, I'm not even sure I'd call them questions, JT.
They weren't.
It was a puff piece. It was just chit chat, really.
Right. Well, I didn't watch this, obviously, because I've got no interest at all. I have watched the trailer because of you and watching the show. So Facebook, as I watched this pile of shit for you lot, so we could just discuss it on this show. But I haven't watched this panel. But the thing is, as well, this is why we're popular. This is why YouTubers are popular, because we are talking about it. They are aware about it. It's just not going through the official channels, because they have to always present these things, as you know, Mega Geeky, in the right way. When it comes to Chibnall has never ever been a great communicator. He's never really, in my humble opinion, liked the fan base, not since the open air fiasco, when a lot of us turned on him, to be honest, even back then. I do personally think this whole thing with Doctor Who is his ultimate revenge at all of us. I'm going to kill it. I'm going to kill the show you love. But I mean, look at the magazine. When Russell and Moffat were there, they would do something with the magazine more or less every single month, which were production notes. When Chibnall comes along, that stops, because he can't communicate to a fan base that I think he doesn't like or respect.
I think he resents.
Do you know what, I'd really want to know, seriously, I want to know whether we are in an echo chamber, whether we are the lesser of
we're not.
of the fans. But I want to see a fact. I want to see it.
I think we were initially, or even maybe up until the end of series 11, I'd say people who feel as we do made up around a third of the Doctor Who fan base. A third, just about a third. But something happened with Series 12, and before the beginning of Series 12 as well. I'd say once Spyfall, that two-part that kicked it off, had started, something happened around that time, and Orphan 55 in particular meant a lot of people, it's as if they were all out of second chances to give this version of the show. So I think the tide has definitely turned, and I would now say it's more than 50% of the fan base now.
A lot more.
Versions of what we feel. They either reject it entirely, Charlotte, or we're on board initially and feel that it's been a massive missed opportunity. I think there are a lot of fans who came to it for Jodie Whittaker and liked it at first that feel let down now. Charlotte, what's your take on that?
Yeah, because let's think about it. Jodie Whittaker is like her Doctor is the least interesting bit to Chibnall of his run. He's had a fugitive Doctor. He's had Gallifrey be destroyed. He's had the Timeless Children. It's like Jodie's Doctor is bottom of the pile because she doesn't get developed. She doesn't get arcs. Everything else, canon-wise, almost is more important to Chibnall. And I think that's why even the fans who came with Jodie are seeing that. They're seeing the lack of interest in their own Doctor.
Very much so. I interviewed a guy. I'm not going to name him because he's known in Doctor Who circles. He's a lovely guy, and I interviewed him a little while ago for the podcast, and we were talking about this era. And he is on board with the majority of it, but he was very frustrated about the fugitive Doctor and the fact that they've created this character, brought her to the screen, given her this showcase, and what should be a pivotal part in the lore if they are really going to push outward like this, this whole Timeless Children business. But ultimately, it doesn't look like they're going to do anything with her. And this person feels that the casting of the character was total.
Thank God, that's all I can say.
Was total.
But why?
Well, I wanted to ask you about. Well, I wanted to ask you about this scene because I know you've got a lot of thoughts about this. This person feels that it was just pure tokenization, and so their perspective of Chris Chibnall switched really radically from being someone who was completely on board and trusting of that writer to be, this man is tokenizing ethnic minorities. Is that accurate?
Well, of course it's accurate. The whole of Hollywood is doing that. They're giving black people hand-me-downs for characters. They're not creating new black characters so that they can create their own history. They're taking white characters and turning them black. And the black people who have brains, they know it's a hand-me-down character. Of course, you can't blame actors for taking the parts because it's money and they're moving forward and stuff like that. So I don't blame them, but I do blame the infrastructure of the whole of the system now. So this is what's happening. You can deny it if you want. You can like it if you want. I can only speak for myself where I think this is a horrible precedent. I think this is a cult. And I think this is dangerous right across the board.
I agree with you, Ian, completely. But I have to say as well that the same thing happens with women.
Yeah.
Right. It's just virtue signaling, tick boxing, and it's all done in the name of diversity. And it's not diverse at all. It's just actually doing it because you feel that that's the right thing to do. I agree with you, and I think that's a good point.
And then the problem is, if you're a woman who does not like this era, like me, like Starry, like others in our community, if we speak out, we get attacked. Because it was meant to be for us, this era. And it's like, no, you wanted the protection of a female Doctor. You didn't this is my point with Chibnall. He wanted the protection
for his product
of the female Doctor. He doesn't want to develop her. He doesn't want to give her anything to actually do. I still think Jodie wouldn't be good if you gave us anything, but at the end of the day, he should be at least trying to develop her
because
Doctor.
She's not right for the part, quite clearly not right for the part. Completely miscast. Jodie Whittaker's Doctor Who is completely miscast. But somebody who isn't necessarily miscast is Joe Martin, who plays the
No,
fugitive
of course
doctor.
she's miscast.
No, I don't necessarily
That
think
character should not be there, Dan. It should not be there. Just
Well,
like the War Doctor. The War Doctor should never have been there.
No,
We're
going to go down another road there, aren't we?
right?
We're going to go down another road.
This is how it started. Okay, the War Doctor should not have existed at all, right? The destruction of the the origin of the Doctor should not have happened.
No,
right?
I agree. I agree. Ian, I agree with you completely. Narrative wise, I do. But all I'm talking about is that basic concept of casting an actor who is capable of reaching a part, of embodying a part. I believe, you know me, I would much rather. I've always said publicly, the Doctor is a male part. I didn't see any need to change the gender. It's a total gimmick, and they have royally fucked it up too. That accepted, I believe there are actresses out there who could reach the part potentially.
Yes,
and Joe Martin may be one of them. But because, as you were saying, Charlotte, she there's no chance of any good material getting anywhere near that character to build it out, to give her what she would need and no screen time. We're never going to know whether she was right for the role either. Sorry, Kelly.
No. Yeah, but that's the thing. I think some of that is Joe is a lover of the show. If you see her talk, because she was doing promotion for Time Fracture, and she was talking about watching Tom Baker, and I think you don't have to be a fan, and I agree, because I know you had this debate a couple of weeks ago. You don't have to be a fan to be a Doctor, but you need to at least understand, and I think being a fan helps to understand the character of the Doctor.
No, I disagree with you, Charlotte, but I'm from a different era to you, and I'm older. Because when Hartnell, Troughton, Pertwee, and Baker got the role, they weren't Doctor Who fans. And look how huge and successful and brilliant they are, because they originated it. If you're an actor, a character actor as well, such as your Matt Smith, you can actually, if you have that talent, if you have that gravitas, you can create from nothing a character. And the Doctor is a character. And the whole thing about that is, like Matt Smith did, he was aware of all these previous 10 people that had done it before. He went and did some work, but he's a character actor, and he built his own thing. And that's the thing about an actor, and especially for the Doctor, you can be aware of the 12 incumbents you've had before you. I will never include Whittaker, thank you. And you can go back and look at them to assess that sort of doctorishness thing that runs through the 12 of them. But as your talent, you should be able to put that together as a character without any real without the real fan nonsense that we all have.
Like I said, that's why I'd say maybe not a fan, but understanding. That's the word I'd use then. Because,
but if you're British, you should have that understanding. I mean, if you were saying how what's his name, the new companion, the comedian?
Oh, John Bishop.
John Bishop.
Sorry, I've forgotten his name already. That's age. But John Bishop was so passionate because he understands it's a British icon. It's a British television show. He may not be a fan, but he understands it. There's the illustration.
He must know that this version of Doctor Who is not good. He must know it, right? And the only conclusion I can come to why he's doing it is because it's the BBC. He's getting money. He's getting a bit of prestige, and also it'd be great for his tour. When he's on Doctor Who, it would be great for his tour, right? So that's why he's doing it. But there's no way no one knows that Doctor Who has been woked up to the wazoo. There's no way no one knows.
Oh,
that.
no,
I love that. What's it? No, say that again. What's it been done?
Woked up to the wazoo.
Yeah, I love it. There you go.
Can we have that on a t-shirt, please? T-shirts available.
T-shirts coming up. The Mega Geek says, "Woked up to the wazoo,"
and we'll all go to a convention wearing them.
Yeah, no, I would argue actually there was a bit of an acknowledgement because they did not talk about the timeless children.
Not a word, not a whisper.
Really, not one thing about it. You see, what gets me about these things though is that you can't interact. They are always pre-recorded. They are always closed off. You cannot leave comments. For the reason is because they know, even if the actors may not, but Chibnall knows there will be questions or there will be comments that he doesn't want to see or acknowledge.
But I want to make this clear, right? Totally clear to everyone that's listening, right? I have no problem with this show now. It is not for me, right? I keep saying this. It is for those new people that want this Doctor Who. And I say, God bless them, right?
There isn't many.
If you ask my opinion, I will tell you my opinion. without a shadow of a doubt. I'll tell you, Matt, and this is my opinion. This should never have happened.
But we've had this discussion before. We've actually established that the new audience Chibnall wanted by booting us all out and saying, "Oh, I'm going to go for the liberals that are around, the younger liberals." They didn't come. Yes, you've got some of the Blue Hair Prince Brigade, but they're not staying with the show. They arrived, trumpeted the arrival of a female, then buggered off. We know that's failed. We know that audience is there. It's bringing in under 4 million, which is awful. I guarantee. Well, I'm not going to guarantee, but I'm going to predict now the next series will get on 3.
And JT, we have the only figures that we have got of indication of interest at the moment are the fact that the trailer that was premiered on this panel launched on YouTube as well, obviously the same evening. And you may be interested to know the people out there who collate and collect all these stats and make all these comparisons and hold on to data. They have put the screenshots together. And within I think it was an 18-hour period after the premiere of the trailer to Series 13, it had got half the amount of views that the trailer to Series 12 got within the same amount of
period
of that dropping onto YouTube too. So, okay, it's only one platform, but YouTube is a big platform. It's the biggest platform. And if that's any indicator, then half the interest over the same period of time cannot be good. So we got the trailer. This was the graphic that we got with the trailer. Somebody said, it's just...
It's very subtle.
I said...
Dan, I'm actually just looking... I'm just... sorry, before you go there, I'm just go back to your point there about the trailer. I'm just looking at it right now. Yes. It's still only on 333,000 views.
Yeah, that's...
It's not much, because the last one they did was in the 400. So it's nothing, is it?
But now, I was about to say, right, this thing that's happening with all the pop culture TV shows and books and everything, it's very, very dangerous, right? It's look, we were talking about Doctor Who. Doctor Who is a TV show. Yes, God bless it and all that, right? But the problem is bigger than Doctor Who. It's very dangerous what these people are doing, and hopefully I'll be dead before it actually kicks off. That's all I can say.
Well, you're not, because it is showing what's happening now in certain quarters. I mean, there are governments who are woke, who are bringing this all in. I'm in Scotland. I'm very concerned. There are other issues that are coming up. I mean, there is segregation coming in absolutely everywhere, and everybody's doing this under the bracket of diversity and all this sort of stuff. And it's absolute segregation. We've got a college that's being routed in England to be black only. We've got differences I mean, it's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. You know, oh man, we are living through it now. This is starting now.
I'm scared, right? Because my nieces came to stay with me. Just bear with me, Dan. And we were talking about what's that film with the what is it? With Emma Stone, the Walt Disney film, Emma Stone.
Oh,
Cruella. Right. We're talking about Cruella, and I was saying I don't want to see a film about a woman that actually kills loads of dogs to make a fur coat. And she was going on about, well, you know, it was the infrastructure that turned it. She's not evil, really, and stuff like that. I was like, this is what they teach you in school. Yeah, this is what they teach you.
I tell you something. I bet if you watch that film, the reason that she's evil, it was probably some bloke's some bloke fault. I just while I remember, it'd be a straight white man's fault somehow. They do say that if a tree falls in the forest, which straight white man did it?
It was JT.
But I don't tick one of those particular boxes, so I'm fine.
Moving on, everybody. We were talking a little bit about echo chambers, and yes, we may be similar minded on the panel today. I have actually sent out the invitation because we are looking to expand Type 40 Live, because this is a community. We are not an army. We're not allies, we are friends. And the Doctor Who community is traditionally made up of friends who can have these discussions and have these disagreements. And maybe even things could get a bit volatile sometimes, but that's all part of the fun. You know, you pull on your helmet, you go out to the battlefield, and then everybody comes back and goes for a drink. That's traditionally what fandom was all about. That's what made it tick. That was the community that certainly 3 of us here grew up in. And there is no reason why it has to die. There's no reason why it has to be left in the past. We can bring it back. So yes, I'd have sent out a couple of invitations to one guy in particular. He was very keen to come on, but I think his work pattern may mean it's not possible. I'm hoping if he doesn't turn up today, he will at a later date, because he's rather a fan of the era, but like us, he's also got his frustrations too. If that describes you and you're a content maker, a podcaster, or a YouTuber, consider this open forum to come and chat to us if you think we've got it all wrong. We've got our heads up our you know what? Come and tell us. Come and talk to us about it. Come and have a few laughs here on Type 40 Live on the Spacebook. We are genuinely interested. I was going to mention Mandeep Gill, but yeah, nobody else did, so why should I? Let's talk a little bit about the trailer. This is the trailer they put out with this graphic, the most on-the-nose graphic you could possibly imagine. We got a few snippets of Series 13. JT, you actually watched it. For me, this all looked
far too long.
It was far too long at 49 seconds. But for me, this trailer, as somebody who has watched the 2 preceding seasons, all those clips that made up that trailer could have just as easily have been snipped out from episodes that we have already seen. There is nothing new here to see that I can make out. Charlotte, am I being harsh there? You've watched them too.
Oh, yeah, no, I think they were scared to put anything of substance in. That's the whole vibe I got from the panel. They were scared to death to spoil. And I think the trailer, and here's my little theory, why I think it was so, it seemed to be very random clips to me that just randomly they put together. And I think maybe they did that because we do know from the panel that Series 13 is one continuous story.
Yes.
And I think they thought if we put too many clips that sync, we're going to spoil some of this continuous story.
I doubt that.
Yeah, so let's get into that then. Serialized story. This was the big revelation of the panel, wasn't it? Such as it was. This is the only thing that Chris Chibnall really said of any consequence. So yeah, they are going with one serialized story. It's going to be one story over all of the episodes in this block rather than the traditional self-contained episodes. And this is a direct quote from Mr. Chibnall now. He said when he was actually on stage, let's get him up. Yes, he said that the big thing we're going to be doing this year is that it's all one story. Every episode is a chapter in a bigger story. So we've changed the shape of the series for this year. And I think the challenges of getting the show up and running, you could have gone one of two ways. You could have, we were just going to, let's go. You could go, we're just going to do lots and lots of tiny episodes in one room with no monsters. Or we can throw down the gauntlet and say we're going to do the biggest story we've ever done. Oh, Chris, don't say things like that, because that is something you cannot possibly guarantee on delivering. And the more you raise people's expectations, the harder it is to deliver on them.
Raise expectations.
yeah. And he did. They had. So that's the thing. We're getting this one overarching story. Now, the thing is, although 8 episodes are being made, have been commissioned, and are to be delivered, as we've been saying on this show now for months. I think people have started talking about it now, but we've been saying it on Type 40 Live for months. Subscribe now, you don't want to miss any more. That there are 8 episodes being filmed, but only 6 are going to be part of this run. The remaining 2 are going to be held over. We're going to get one as the New Year's Day special, and another one sometime, probably late in 2022, which will be the final episode to star Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor.
Hooray!
We've been saying that on Type 40 Live for months. I see no reason to change that tune now. So, Is this overarching story going to run over just the 6 or over all 8? In which case, people could have to wait the best part of 18 months to see how the story concludes, JT. But as classic fans, we know that this sort of serialized storytelling, it's been tried before, hasn't it? And it's been tried when the show has been in trouble. So,
no, because the Key to Time was not a time when the show was in trouble, and the Key to Time is genius. I can watch the whole of the Key to Time in a week quite happily. And let's just mention Mary, who his anniversary was this week. Lots of love. Lots of love.
Mary Tam.
Yep. Trial of a Time Lord. We all know the story there. What gets me about this, which makes it laughable, is again, Chibnall, sweetheart, darling, you're in total ignorance here. If you are a member of the British public, which the 4 of us are, many of the Spacebookers watching are, we are not watching your show. So you're coming along now, and you're going to expect a member of the British public to watch this show every week for God knows how many weeks. 8 weeks or whatever, 6 weeks. Now, what if you were a member of the viewing British public and you tune into Doctor Who on a Saturday or Sunday or wherever they're going to put it now to try and boost the figures, and it's episode 5 of a continuing story? You're going to switch off because you won't know what's gone before and you won't, quite frankly, give a damn. What an idiot. You should have stuck in your failing show to the individual story so that you could try and at least grab the people that might tune in by mistake to show their interest. But it's not going to work. It's not going to work because they're not going to stick with this thing. This is the most unpopular version of the show in the show's history. The British public have said, we're sick of this nonsense. Reject, reject, reject. It's not going to work.
I don't think it's going to work either.
I agree.
I don't think it's going to work
JT.
either. There is some excitement out there about. There is some excitement out there about this, Charlotte, as you from the usual people really who are completely on board. I don't think this is going to work at all. Yeah, I understand why people fall for hype, for hyperbole, and for big smiles on stages. But my instinct is exactly the same as yours, JT. I think the only way this could possibly work is it would be if they were to strip it across a week, the way they did with Torchwood, Children of Earth, and we still get event shows like that sometimes now. ITV ran one around Easter time, didn't they, starring Noel Clarke? And that did really, really well in the ratings. I think that that they may have been able to made this serialized storyline work over a week, but
I understand what you're saying, and it would have been
over 6 Saturdays. Yes, they are going to fall into the exact pitfall that you talked about.
I understand what you're saying there about following the Children of Earth type model, and that was huge. But that's when the show was popular. It's not popular. It's very difficult to talk to a certain element of the fan base about this, but we know this. We've discussed about this. The ratings are down. The merchandise is going down the toilet every single day, as we saw at the top of the show. Please, all this not. Even if you put it on at, say, 6 o'clock every single night, the BBC has just lost in 18 months 1 million license fee households. That's automatically going to bring down the viewing figure on Doctor Who. As I said the other week, EastEnders is getting just over 2 million for its episodes. Go figure. Even if it was on every single day, I don't think the public would watch. And it has lost all of us as fans as well. The fan base now is, we're around, but we're not following the show. And the ones that do are very small. I can't wait to see the figure, Charlotte.
Yeah, and also you've got the popularity issue. And the elephant in the room, this is Chibnall writing this. This is the showrunner who randomly decided halfway through my second season, I'm going to give a companion mental health problems when he hadn't signposted it.
I'd never mentioned it before.
This is this is the showrunner who had the 13th Doctor see Gallifrey destroyed in Spyfall, that opening episode, and then she's happy, she's laughing, she's how did Yaz say it? She's in a bit of a mood. Yeah, she's just seen a whole planet destroyed.
God, I'd rather watch Play School. Oh, you won't remember that, Charlotte.
Yeah,
I do.
That's my point. He can't do long form development to save his life, and now he's doing a whole series that's going to heavily depend on it.
As you can tell, everybody, our hopes have not been raised by this at all.
No.
A largely inconsequential trailer, a puff piece of a panel in a difficult time, but they could have made it a little bit more lively. And this graphic, of course, the people out there got quite excited about this, and there was speculation for well over a week about that bottom line, that little line there underneath John Bishop where it says, with Chris Chibnall and a very special surprise guest. Now, let's go back on that a little, and I'll clear my throat.
Was it Brad Pitt?
A very special surprise guest. Now, they must have known what they were doing when they said
Dame
that.
Judi Dench.
The fandom. Oh, if only. Oh, bless her.
No, she would not touch this show with anybody's. Can you imagine? No.
So what do you think happened? The fandom latched onto that, and their imaginations went into overdrive, didn't it, Charlotte? Who was it going to be?
David Tennant.
And we joined in. Yeah, is it David Tennant?
Was it Zippy?
Joe Martin? Is it Tom Baker? People out there with
Tom Baker
thought that it may be Tom Baker.
Why would it be Tom?
I said in jest to somebody last week on another show, I said, well, here's what I do. I would scroll through the list of the cast members of Broadchurch, work out who hadn't been on yet, and it will be them. And I was completely joking
David Bradley.
Everybody. Now, I'm smart, but I'm not that smart. But it turns out that I was exactly right.
Oh, who was it?
The very special surprise guest
Who's
turned
that?
out to be this guy. Correct. This is
Who's this? And
is-
what was he playing in Broadchurch?
Charlotte.
I don't remember him.
Charlotte. Tell JT who this is.
Who's this, Charlotte?
He's a Captain Jack replacement.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah, this
really?
is the actor. This is the actor and singer Jacob Anderson. He was introduced on the panel in a self-recorded video from his own home. He was all smiles, and God bless him. He looked like he'd had the time of his life. He was really pleased to be there, and it was hard not to feel glad for this guy that he'd got a job on a show that he loved when he was a kid. That's
just
the
got a
disclaimer.
job. Just got a job. End it there.
Well done, Jacob. Yeah, got a job during a pandemic. Well done, Jacob. I'm glad you enjoyed it. But as you say, Charlotte, it does look like this character has been parachuted in to the show to make up for the absence of John Barrowman's Captain Jack, who we strongly believe was a big feature of this series, because there's a bloody tie-in comic from Titan Comics starring Captain Jack that was supposed to weave into this story. So,
are you telling me this is a new companion?
Yeah, well, that's what we suspect.
It's a new character.
That's what we suspect.
JT.
So the comic has been shelved. So John Barrowman, the Captain Jack comic has been shelved. We believe the reason why it's still filming is because they've had to do some reshoots on this and create this character for Jacob. Is that what you think as well, then, Charlotte?
Well, yeah, I think to be positive, he was lovely. His little bit he filmed.
He was
once again,
really nice guy.
He talked about watching David Tennant when he was a teenager, saying, "I don't want to go."
Oh, shut up,
well, no,
teenager! Oh, go away, you.
No, but
glass of water for JT, please. Glass of
something stronger.
I'm used to it. No, but so that was lovely because he was really enthusiastic. And once again, it was like John. I actually bought his enthusiasm. Maybe I'm getting soft. Sorry. But basically, his description, he's like a gun-toting sort of action hero, is the way they described him.
Captain Jack.
So Captain Jack. He's even got a ship. He's even got his own ship. So
he's got dreads.
And has
he got dreads?
Is that the squareness gun? It looks.
I was going to ask you that because it looks like the squareness gun. He'll be having a time thingy on his wrist next. I tell you, is he a time agent?
We don't know.
I bet you he is. I bet you now he is. I'll bet you an Easter egg. Yes.
Yeah. The character's name is Vinda. Which is whatever.
Vinda.
And talented. When I see talented people, when I see enthusiastic, talented people cast in the show as it is now, you know what I think? What a waste! It's a pity that it's a pity they couldn't have been cast in a few years' time. Maybe this guy would get something interesting to do, something that he could really play with and expand on, rather than what we believe could be a hand-me-down part. There's not really a great deal we can say about it. We haven't seen him in the role. Ian, do you remember this guy? He played a Grey Worm in Game of Thrones. Another great character.
I'm not a fan of Game of Thrones, but I hope they don't kill this guy off or he doesn't get injured, because in Doctor Who, especially Jodie Run, all the black people in the Jodie Run either are stupid or get killed, or you know what I mean? So I'm hoping this, prime example was what's his name? The guy that was sucking his thumb. I can't remember his name. What's his name again?
Ryan.
What a plank and an idiot that guy was.
Did he audition?
You know what I mean? Who knows? Who cares?
Let's face it, it's doubtful on the strength of evidence that we've got.
This is another thing that people don't notice, that BBC, especially this era of Doctor Who, treated black people like shit. They did. Go and look at the history on I only saw the first season and I've been told about the other seasons, but I saw the last one, which was the Christmas one, and the poor black guy driving the truck, he got killed. Do you know what I mean?
Mega geeky, I'm not watching any more of this stuff. I watched a 49-second trailer. That was more than enough for me, thank you. God.
So,
I wouldn't be surprised if this guy gets done for or something. Or he's a baddie.
Oh,
or something.
almost certainly.
Yeah.
We've got starry-eyed girl watching in the chat. Our Sarah, she couldn't make it today either, unfortunately, but she is here spiritually, and she says, "I shan't be watching Series 13 apart from the episode where Jodie gets killed and regenerates." And we're waiting to see if we can get a discount on the party poppers for that episode. So stick with us. Hopefully, we'll have a code that you'll be able to enter in and get a percentage off. I'm still working on that. Just stick with me. So I think we have to leave that subject there for now. The panel, it was 40 minutes of your life you're never going to get back, wasn't it? It was pretty much what we were expecting. Fairly harmless, nothing to frighten the horses, which really says a lot about Doctor Who on TV in 2021. The trailer, there'll likely be a proper trailer coming in a few weeks' time. I thought
that was the proper trailer.
That was the teaser. That was the teaser.
Yeah, if you put that onto BBC One, you're going to lose even more viewers because it reminded me of the opening titles to Rainbow. High above the streets and houses, rainbow climbing high. Because all the rainbows came up in that. Do you remember? And I just thought, I hope bloody Thames Television sue the hell out of you.
Yes, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Yes, we are close to that point where we take a little bit of a break. So let's have a look and see what's going on in the chat.
I need to go for a pee. Yeah.
Lots of other people aren't. Jason Scott, Series 13 will be every bit as abysmal as 12. You could find the best supporting actors to star in the show at this point, but as long as Chibnall and Whittaker on board, it'll be a waste.
Absolutely.
I completely agree with Jason Scott. Thanks for joining us.
Can I say to that to Jason, I hope you don't take this the wrong way, Jason, but in your picture there, you're looking very masterly.
He is. He looks like the master there.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that's what I don't get about this panel. Like, if you look online, I keep seeing, I'm not watching it, I'm fed up, I'm not watching it. So they need to basically kick the audience back into watching this program. They need to make a big splash. They need to do something that really gets excitement going.
Yeah,
Recast, redo the production team. That's what's going to get the excitement going. Yeah.
Let's have some guy with dreadlocks so we can kill him off or make him a baddie. Yeah,
no, but
that's the big thing they presented to us, right?
Yeah, but that's my point. This was the chance to get the public's imagination. I know it was never going to happen, but this is the chance to do it. And what did they do? They gave us a trailer with no monsters, with no real action pieces in it.
Even though we know some of the monsters already.
He flies.
Yeah.
Jodie flies. Mandy.
Do you know, Charlotte, some of the trailers, do you remember at the end of the Russell T Davies era, especially on the Christmas Day episode, you would get a trailer for the next series, which was happening in a few months' time. They were more impactful, I thought, than that thing that they put on Comic-Con, because they were bang, 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 excitement, energy, and you thought, oh, this is all going to look good, you know?
Do you remember the one with Matt when he was lied on the grass and he was with Amy?
Yeah. Wonderful.
And it like,
yeah.
And if you go back further, when they were introducing, I can't remember what series with Tom Baker, they just showed a clip of Tom Baker looking out the square, looking down at the Dalek and saying, if you're so intelligent, if you're better than the human race, climb up here and get me. And then it fires at him. That was enough to make me want to watch the show.
And that was a trailer for Destiny of the Daleks back in '79, and it was just for that story as the season opener said the Daleks back, and so's Tom.
Yeah,
happy memories. Obviously, if you're on board for Series 13, we hope you enjoy it sincerely, and we will be covering it in one form or another. We're not quite sure how yet, but stick with Type 40 and Type 40 Live. There will be coverage of Series 13 coming up.
Well, that's maybe where the people who want to watch it can come and join the show, because I can guarantee you we can't judge the show, because none of us will be watching it.
We'll let you know what's happening when it's happening on that front. We're about to go for a break, but before we go to the break, I want to show you this. So this is for the people out there watching in the chat, watching on YouTube or on Facebook live at the moment. We have this. This is a supporting character from the series Outlander, which is big on Amazon Prime. So this is one of the supporting cast of that fantasy show. This young man with his, looks like a bow and arrow. He's got the quiver on the back and feathers in his hair. Yeah, and Mr. T's haircut there on a ginger guy. Great stuff. Go for it. Why not rock it if you can get away with it? That's what I say. Now, yes, so this actor, what I'd like to know from you guys watching in the chat, who is this? Because this actor had a part in Doctor Who many years ago. So I was wondering if you can work out who that is. Let us know. We're going to go for the ad break now, and then I'll tell you who it is and where you'll have seen him before when we come back. Hey, stick with Type 40 Live. Stick with Type 40 Live for more. Coming back in a moment.
Come in, Mayday. What are your coordinates?
What can you get for a tenner these days? I'm off to Farm Foods.
Minced beef and onion, cooked diced chicken, 50 chicken breast bites, a rack of ribs, 24 rashers of bacon, and a bag of diced beefsteak. Amazingly, any 4 of these for just £10.
Fill up your freezer at Farm Foods.
John and the kids are always out and about. All I know for sure is they get very hungry. That calls for lamb chops and masses of Bisto gravy.
Bisto, made with the goodness from your meat. Browns, seasons, thickens, all in one delicious go. Mrs. Pertwee knows what every mum knows. For your Bisto kids, there's only one gravy, and it's Bisto.
Yes, please.
Gotta do the shopping now. Okay, toilet tissue, put it in the basket. Where the fish fingers, put them in the basket. Washing up liquid, put it in the basket. Mushy peas, put them in the basket. Toothpaste, put them in the basket. Fresh and clean, put them in the basket. Tissues, put them in the basket.
Would you mind keeping a bit quiet, please?
I'm sorry, I was just doing
You're disturbing the other customers.
Well, I'm sorry, I'll keep quiet.
Thank you very much. Honestly, as if we haven't got enough to worry about without crackpots like him around. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yes. Tidy up the toothpaste, that's what I'm paid for. Put down the tissues, that's what I'm paid for. Move all this over, that's what I'm paid for. Go for a coffee break, that's what I'm paid for.
That was lots of fun, wasn't it? I had never seen that before. I don't know if any of you had.
No, not at all.
No.
Wendy Padbury there having a bit of fun, putting on a Black Country accent too, Wendy. That's
And was that a wig, Wendy? Do let us know.
Won't forget that one. So yes, before the break, we asked you about this fella. He's a member of the cast of Outlander, the Amazon Prime show, the fantasy show. I think it's about 4 or 5 seasons in. That was directly inspired. It's got a bit of a link to Doctor Who. That's probably a story for another time. But yeah, this is one of the cast members, and we asked you if you knew where he's connected to Doctor Who, why we may recognise him. Let's have a look back through the comments here, see if anybody's got it. He looks like a teenager. I think it's because he probably is.
I just saw something on Twitter, and somebody's written Doctor Who has been woked up to the wazoo.
Hey! You heard it here first, everybody. You heard
David Payne.
Like the video, subscribe to the channel.
Well done, David.
Hit the close the bell for notifications for more mega geek gold, mega gold. There you go. We better copyright that. Get the patent. Yes. So Noel Glynn from the TARDIS Zone official watching in the chat said, "Is it the kid from Night Terrors?" Crimplin Doubloon says, "Was he the boy in the Toclafane?"
Was he?
Got several other people asking similar questions. What else? Got another question? No, it's nothing to do with Tom Baker. No, this is we're going to reveal now. Reveal who it is. Yes, so it is. It was this guy. It's this is
the Blue Peter winner. Wow.
Yes, this is the Blue Peter winner from back in 2007. This was Little John Bell, who played Crete in the episode Utopia, if you remember there, JT.
Oh, wow.
I remember that, and I remember the Blue Peter edition where they launched the competition.
So there he is with Freem Rajaman and David Tennant, looking proud as punch, and so clean-faced. Cherubic, I think is the expression there, Ian. And now playing a Mohican marauder over on Outlander. Could you believe it? So there we are. There he is. And all those years ago, 14 years ago now, JT. Can you believe it? Since you
No, I can't. Stop it. You and Charlotte, please stop this stuff. It really gets...
Oh dear. So yeah, I saw that picture. I don't watch Outlander, but I saw that picture and people talking about it. I thought, wow, doesn't time fly? I think somebody did get this in the chat. It was Nicky Smalley. He guessed that.
Well done, Nick.
That. Yes, he's got, wasn't it the kid from the Blue Peter comp to be in Utopia? So yes, that'll do. That was right. That's correct. Well done, Nicky. Because I got to be honest, I would probably never have guessed if I had seen it myself. Oh dear. Other people putting out all sorts of other answers, but no, that is the correct answer. Story-Eyed Girl says, gosh, 14 years ago?
I know.
Read it.
Shocking, isn't it? Absolutely shocking.
Going back to the classic era now. Earlier on, JT, we talked a little bit about merchandise and how current
my favourite thing.
Current merchandise basically doesn't exist.
Not my favourite thing.
Yeah. So if you are a merchandise collector at the moment, JT, it's quite slim pickings. I don't think it's unfair to say.
No, but in a sense, that's a good thing because I'm not spending as much money, and I'm actually spending my money on grown-up things like paying the mortgage and paying the bills.
Yeah, but this last couple of weeks, one on my item of merchandise has got the Doctor Who fandom quite excited, hasn't it?
Yeah,
it's this little beauty here. Let's have a closer look. So here he is. It's the second Doctor, of course it is, in the doors of the TARDIS. This is the second Doctor and electronic TARDIS from the Abominable Snowmen, 1967.
Have you had the drink in the break? Did you have a drink?
With light and SFX. So this is a special set of figures from Character Options. It's an exclusive from their website, celebrating, it says here, one of the most iconic and now sadly lost adventures of Patrick Troughton's tenure as the second Doctor. This exclusive collector's set includes electronic classic TARDIS with light and sound effects, plus highly detailed second Doctor figure as depicted in the classic 1967 episode. And you know what? It is beautifully detailed, isn't it?
It's gorgeous.
Fantastic.
I mean, this is the quality that from Character, though, at the moment. I mean, this is the first electronic TARDIS we've had in, 10 years or something? Yeah, it has since that. And now, of course, we get them through B&M, and they're very inventive and creative through the B&M. I'm a huge fan of Character Options. I have been right since the very beginning, back in 2005. But this was a gift. We have been waiting for this version of the second Doctor for many, many years because the prototype was leaked years ago, and we've all been going, give us it. So
was it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this prototype has been around forever. It's a slightly different paint variant to the prototype that was leaked all those years ago. But to get it, to be able to order it, there were 4,000 available on the website, but to be able to see it released at last is a bit of a fan dream, really. It's lovely.
It is. It's gorgeous.
We have put the link in the description of the video, so they are still up for sale. It's Character they've somehow managed to strike the right balance between being very, very sort of populist in their appeal. Kids can play with these figures if they wish to, and yet it's still, and yet they've still got a prestige about them, Charlotte.
Yeah, no, I think it's because you can tell that they put like the detail in. Because there's so many times when I see these on like Twitter and I go, "Oh, I'm so tempted to buy that," and it's just a nice, like I said, and I think it's also because they're smart. They know they have to do current era merch, so they put out what they have to, and then they do a load of classic. So they're very clever with how they do their merch. Character.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is they are aware of what's going on. They're not stupid. These people, but they're based in Oldham, here in the United Kingdom. They've been there since the very beginning. What happened, of course, is that it twisted around because from 2005 onwards, we had just new series stuff, and then when it came into the Moffat era, the new series stuff started to change. Then they experimented with smaller sort of original Star Wars. That was a flop. Nobody bought those. And then they found the classic stuff. So they did some classic stuff ages ago as an experiment, massive sales for them. So to do these through B&M and through this is their second online exclusive. But to do these sort of things, they know now what they're doing. And actually, when you're saying that they have to do the new series stuff, they do, but they're in very reduced numbers.
Well, yeah, because there's pictures of them all on the shelf for £1, so they know.
Yes, and that's they do know that, and I might be wrong, but I was told by a friend of mine who works in the toy industry, they don't take them in anymore because the return policy is no existent if things don't sell.
There are certain people who will argue for 7 days from Sunday that is not the case, but walk into any B&M up and down the country, and they are lined with shelves, reduction after reduction after reduction on that Yaz, Ryan, and Jadoon set. That I would hate to think they're going to have to melt some of them down.
I was in
them into the sun or something.
I was in Forbidden Planet last week, in fact, and I was talking to the guy behind the counter.
Oh, okay.
And I saw the counter for Doctor Who, because usually when you go, right, if you go back 9 years ago, the whole shelf was full of Doctor Who stuff, and I went in there and there was just like this little corner.
Yes,
with Jodie figures and stuff like that. And I said to the guy behind the counter, I said, "Is it true that these things are not selling?" And he went, "Shh, don't tell anyone," because he didn't even want to say it. I think his boss was a huge fan or some nonsense like that. So, do you know what I mean? It is true that they're not selling, and it is true that it's not ordering anymore.
We know they're not selling. You know, Dan and I post on the Type 40 Facebook page quite a lot pictures that we see. So the action figures, £3, £4, the sonic screwdriver, £2. You know, all these things from the Chibnall era. Nothing sells. We know that, and it's a shame because I mean, look at that there.
It's beautiful.
I mean, it is stunning, isn't it? And
just the TARDIS as well. The way it's been so carefully distressed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they've even got it. I mean, it does look. I don't know about you guys, but it does hurt me when I see the sign on the wrong side. It doesn't look right. Does not compute it. But that's how it was on the TV show.
Yeah. You know something doesn't look right, Ian. But, as grown men, you can't but want some of these little bits of plastic, can you?
I wouldn't mind getting this, actually. It might actually.
Well, you better hurry up, my friend. It's they're about 40, 45 pound, and they've been selling very nicely. It is a one-off. You've got to get it from the character website alone. I know there's issues outside the United Kingdom, but if you're going to get it quick.
Fair enough.
Yes, we've got TARDIS Zone says the Spacebook. Check out the Eagle Moss Whittaker console if you want to laugh. Well, yeah, you must have come to the show late, my friend, because we did. In fact, anyone got any suggestions? This is what he's talking about.
Do you think this is a finger to us?
I think it's a case someone was having a 3:00 meeting. Can I show you, Dan? Let's go back to the character options. Let me show you.
Yes,
here it is.
Wow. I hate you.
I want to say to character options, the turnaround on this was amazing because I got it 2 days after I ordered it online. So the box is very similar to the boxes that you see the TARDIS sets in B&M, except for that. There is a top slit in there to show that it is different to the B&M range. You've got the window at the side. I'm sorry, I'm getting the light on this as well. On the back, you're getting the usual blurb of the show, the actual episodes it's built in. And then the new addition is, of course, this character online exclusive.
Brilliant doing the demonstrations on QVC or The Price is Right, my friend. Well done.
Well, I actually auditioned to them once upon a time, and there's a story we'll talk about another time. But there it is. I mean, the detail to this.
He's worked with them all, everybody. He's worked. He's worked.
All. I can tell, and it involves a name from Doctor Who. But anyway,
I bet it does.
So the background. He says, getting off the subject. The background there is actually.
Yeah, that looks beautiful. It's the Himalayas, isn't it?
Well, it is supposed to be, of course, the Himalayas. It is, of course, Wales. And the usual hidden edge. But what gets me here, I don't know if you can see that because of my sight, but the TARDIS in the box is actually at a jaunty angle. And they've designed the base of the box to make the TARDIS look like it's at a jointy angle there. I don't know if you can see it. No, you can't because of the light. But it's just gorgeous. It's fantastic. And it's, there we go.
I feel sorry for people like Vanessa Law here watching on YouTube. For people who live in other countries, who the postage and packing would be cost prohibitive.
Huge.
It'd be massive. But so that's a shame, obviously. But for collectors and for people who've been aware, I had no idea that was a prototype a while ago. Who've been waiting on this. Yeah, it's nice to finally get it. And I suppose the next question is, what next? And if this line of merchandise, your character, they really look after their license, they know their punters. Which sort of deep dive TARDIS and Doctor Set could we get next, Charlotte? Have you got any sort of bits of merchandise like that you've been waiting for somebody to bring out for years and years and years?
Well, like I said, I'm just getting into classic now, so it's a bit of it's one of those things that when I see them, they look lovely, but sometimes I don't have the same connection as you guys.
Yeah.
So it's
I got a minute, lady. I wasn't around when Patrick Troughton was on the telly. Excuse me, I'm not that old, all right?
I said classic. I said classic. I didn't.
He's going to flounce. He's going to flounce off everybody. Let's change the subject. Yes, that is still available to order from Character at the moment over at the website. The link is in the description of this video. And yet we couldn't not, even though that came out a little while ago while we were away, we couldn't not mention that. It's just too nice, isn't it? So yeah, well done, Character Options, for giving the punters absolutely what you know they want. I've been asking for, there's been numerous figures that I've wanted for a while. I think I'd like a second Doctor from the two Doctors with his grey hair, but not in an androgyne variant character. If you're watching, I didn't agree with that.
One was made available, Dan.
But I think it's got androgyne eyebrows.
Did it?
And that's what put me off purchasing. I'm very finicky, you see. So
if I could be bothered, I'd walk over there and look in the 13th Doctor box set, because I think there was two. There was the B&M, and then there was one in the 13th Doctor box set, which was from the two Doctors without the androgyne thing. So I think you've missed your chance, Yabu, to you.
Oh, yes, it does sound like it. Oh, well, you can't win them all, can you? Yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was, going back to merchandise, is the latest item from, I'm going to get it up on screen now, because it's a whole line of merchandise that I've wanted to talk about for a little while, because they did reach out to us, and I've got a picture of it somewhere. Yes, here it is. So sometime last year, in the comics world we're talking about now, there is a small independent comics company called Cutaway Comics, and they're based in the UK, and for a little while now they have been bringing through new titles based on old Doctor Who characters. So I don't know if you're familiar with this one, Charlotte, whether you've seen Revelation of the Daleks, the 1985 Colin Baker story. Do you remember? William Gaunt playing Orcini, the Knight of the Grand Order of Oberon, and his squire, his smelly squire Ian, who looked after his weapons for him? You remember those two characters?
Ian wasn't the smelly squire.
I'm the smelly something, but I ain't smelly
smelly mega geeky.
They have now, if all goes according to plan for Cutaway Comics, they're going to get their own one-off.
Why?
One. Be nice. They're going to get their own one-shot comic book here, Orcini from Cutaway Comics. And this is the blurb. It says, exiled from the Grand Order of Oberon, celebrated Grandmaster Orcini and his brave Squire Bostock traverse the hinterlands in search of honor amidst the chaos. However, it soon becomes clear that they are not alone in this strange part of the galaxy. Is the hunter about to become the hunted? They kind of crowdfund these comics. They're up on Kickstarter. They're looking for people to invest in them, to take them to print. If you do this and you order direct from Cutaway Comics, you get an exclusive DVD with lots of extra content. And the general gist of it goes something like this. There's a newly recorded Revelation of the Daleks commentary with some of the cast members. There's Trevor Cooper, who played Tarkis, and Colin Spore, who played Liltia. Very memorable characters they were, along with the director Graham Harper. Fantastic director of both classic and new Doctor Who, Graham Harper. So they're doing a commentary on there. There's extra video content, so extended highlights of a little discussion there with Graham, along with trailers for their other comics. We've got Omega and the Paradise Towers comics. So yeah, we had a bit of an exclusive on the Omega one a little while ago now, so that went really, really well. But yeah, it says, there's a bit of a blurb here, and it reminds us where we first saw them. You see them there on screen now. On the right, there's William Gaunt and the gentleman who played Bostock. I can't remember his name now. That's terrible of me, because I love those characters, and I really like the fact that they're diving into classic history for these characters there, JT.
Well, I've got the Omega ones. Can you see them? They're there.
Yeah, they put out a mini-series of Omega, didn't they? That was illustrated by John Ridgway,
John
and now
Ridgway.
they're doing Paradise Towers.
Do they
and
have
they've
the
done
rights to do
a
this?
Lytton
though?
series.
Yes.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
characters where the rights are owned independently by the writers who created them for Doctor Who.
Explains it then. Okay, that explains it then.
So there's some with Eric Saywood based on the character of Lytton too. And I think that from what I've seen, Cutaway Comics, just like Character Options, again, they know their fan base, they look after their properties, they're building something out really quite modestly. And I mean, I think this artwork on the front cover here, that's beautiful. I don't know if that's Adrian Salmon, but it's certainly very similar to his style of work there on that artwork cover. Really like that.
How did I get up there?
Oh, sorry. I do apologize. It says this is written by Eric Saywood and features a cover and interior art by Adrian Salmon. A fantastic graphic artist, in my opinion. I've always loved his work. It's been a mainstay of Doctor Who magazine, and it's a full-color one-shot comic. One-shots are traditional, they're popular in the comics world, but they include sketches and a commentary from the artist and all sorts of other things. So again, the link to go directly to Cutaway Comics and invest in this, join the Kickstarter. That's also in the description of this video. We wish them every bit of luck in the world with the Orcini comic. I've always loved that character. Is there any character from a Doctor Who story, Ian, classic or new, that you think they could make a great comic book spin-off of?
Leela. I love Leela. Leela, she'd make a great comic.
Would you set it before she met the Doctor or after it? Would it be all in animal skins?
No, yeah.
Gotcha. Change his tune there, didn't they?
After the Doctor. She's a great character in my opinion.
Yeah, spin-off for Jenny, says Starry-Eyed Girl watching in the chat. Anybody else?
You'll have to ask David Tennant for that one.
Yeah. Oh, we've got what's this one? Maybe the spin-off Downtime in that. If there was, I'd do a review on it. I like Downtime too. They could do some comics with Kate Lethbridge Stewart. She's a character that I think has had several incarnations that people really like.
Don't they do that now? Isn't she in the graphic novels that Titan produced now?
She may have been in one or two. I don't know. Osgood's been in one. Yeah. Simon Horton watching in the chat. This is a novelty. This is great chat, folks. Loving being an observer.
And Simon, what picture are you using there for your avatar? That looks nothing like you, Simon. Absolutely. Absolutely nothing like you.
I think that could be what they call. I think that's what could be what they call a headshot, Simon.
No, do you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of the old BBC staff passes. Oh, God.
We've got PJ Maybe watching along in the chat, who says, I managed to pick up some classic Doctor Who stuff today, collecting it next week, VHS, and a couple of good books. Some
Fabulous.
New Who stuff that will be given to a friend's daughter. So we're begging, borrowing, and stealing the good stuff, to build up our collections of stuff. But we get donated this stuff sometimes, don't we? That's happened to me loads of times.
Yeah.
And yes, Digby Strawbridge asks, are these the same people who did a comic about Lytton? Yes, they are indeed.
Yes.
And more power to them, more creativity in the Doctor Who universe. That's what we like, and characters that we liked when we originally saw them.
What about the Tooth Monster? They should make a comic of the Tooth Monster. Do you remember that? that would not sell.
That's a Whittaker reference, isn't it? Because I don't get that one.
We had nearly an hour bashing the Whittaker and Chibnall era.
The brilliant thing about people like Cutaway Comics is that it's very similar in the setup. Is that it's keeping comic books alive, isn't it? Really, because we all know the comic book industry has been hit by all this wokeness and all this nonsense that's going around, and you have to feel for it. I mean, you look at all the people it must have put out of work in America. How awful is that? We're starting to see it in what's left of the small amounts of comic industry we've got here, are all foreign owned anyway. So to have a truly independent British small business saying we want to keep the comics going and we're going to use some of your favorite characters, how wonderful. And I mean, to use known fans from Doctor Who magazine, like Adrian and everybody else there. John Ridgway, a giant in the illustrations for Doctor Who comics. He did the Colin Baker era and a bit of Silver as well. Voyager's a classic, isn't it?
And in the comic book world and in the world of illustration as well. The man has illustrated so many books. And big American comic books too. When American comic books sold, both DC and Marvel, we know they're both in major major trouble at the moment. Who
In
knows what's going
trouble.
to happen there? So for Cutaway Comics to be carving out their own niche with characters that we really loved the first time, and telling nice, lean stories. Yeah,
it's exciting as well because there's new characters in the Omega book that I've got. There's the backstory, because they have a backstory in the back pages like we used to do when we were kids.
I love
It's
that.
all about life on Eden, years before the Mandrels, etc., etc. So there's new characters here, and they could evolve, and maybe they could spin off into their own comic books eventually, etc., etc.
Starry-eyed girl says, yes, that's true. Support small businesses. They need us more than ever.
Yeah.
Charlotte, some of us need our tea, don't they? I understand you're going off to get fed. Thanks for joining. So I hope you've enjoyed yourself and vented a little about the panel and the trailer. Who knows? We're going to be back for Series 13. We hope to have you back over the next few weeks to talk about something maybe a bit jollier. But thanks for all your input this afternoon. It's been invaluable. Yeah. Thank you, Queen Charlotte. Oh, hail, Queen Charlotte.
Nice to see you, Charlotte. Goodbye, Charlotte. Goodbye.
See you later, Charlotte.
Bye. We'll catch you soon. Yeah.
Then there were 3.
She's way too rowdy, isn't she? Things are going to quieten down now, don't you think?
Yeah.
What's the next topic, and we'll let you know.
This is it, because returning faces again. I want to talk a little bit about this because I'm quite pleased to see her back, because it's not just because I fancy her something rotten, but Freema Agyeman's back playing Martha Jones on audio for Big Finish. And this was announced last week. I understand it was recorded 18 months ago.
Jesus.
And the blurb says, after more than a decade away from the TARDIS, Freema Agyeman returns to the world of Doctor Who as the 10th Doctor's companion, Martha Jones. So this
Who's playing her husband?
We're going to find out.
Depends when they set the story, my friend, isn't it? If they sent it before Last of the Time Lords.
It says that these stories, it's set in between the 2007 TV episodes The Sound of Drums and Last of the Time Lords.
So when she's walking the earth.
Yeah, when she's walking the earth. Yeah.
It's called The Year. Great. It's called The Year of Martha Jones.
Oh, lovely.
And it's several stories. It's a limited series. So the idea is that across 3 box sets, they'll tell the entire story. And the idea is that Martha Jones is traveling the earth, warning humanity about the Master and spreading hope with tales of her friend, the Doctor. They are going to feature her mum, Francine Jones, still played by Adjoya Ando, who's
she's a good actress.
Bridgerton,
actress.
Yeah, I like her too.
Really good actress. In fact, one of the best known unknowns on British TV. She's been around for a very, very long time. It's always good to see her back in stuff. So we've got that one confirmed cast member so far. I would imagine. Now, the rumor is that John Sim may have recorded some content for these releases, because obviously he's with Big Finish now, or at least he's worked with them.
You see, Dan, right? She would make a good Doctor Who.
Oh, stop it.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, well,
she's got a lot of charisma, but I can't see her as the Doctor myself.
Well, maybe. I don't know. But she's obviously better looking than Jodie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah. We've got a quote here from Freema. Herself. She says, "We really didn't know what Martha was going through during that year on the Earth. We see her embark on it, and we see the conclusion of it. But it's so interesting to really see her as an ordinary person trying to do ordinary things." And the release date we've got so far is just December 2021 for the first of these releases. But obviously, Freema. She's in what's that thing called now about the hospital? I can't remember what it's called. New Amsterdam on American TV, big show on American network TV, 3 or 4 years now. You can watch that on Amazon Prime, and she's great in it. She plays somebody who is a medical doctor, just like Martha Jones, but a bit of a nasty piece of work from the few that I've seen. What have we got? Yes, Starry-eyed Girl says, no, Ian, no, Mr. Mega Geek. She's not got that otherworldliness, but she's definitely better than Jodie. Sadako says, by the end of that finale, I didn't care. Oh, that's a bit harsh. I love that. Yaz and Martha, such the same person.
Sorry,
really?
Are they? Not. Yaz is a waste of space. Martha saved the Earth and the Doctor. Oh, I think that's yes.
Right.
I see
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Looking forward to this. So I'm just glad to see Freema back in the fold, because obviously she's a very much in demand actress on a big show where they're making like 20, 30 episodes a year.
She's
I'm not surprised this was recorded a while ago, but yes, she is.
Lovely.
And when you see her talk, if you follow her on Instagram and various other things where she makes the odd video, she is just as nice Well, she seems to be just as nice as she is on the show. She seems very appreciative of the fans. Often makes a calls out to the Whovians, shout out to the Whovians, which apart from using the word Whovians, we'll forgive her that. Yeah, we can forgive her that when she means well. Maybe one day we'll see her back in Doctor Who. Who knows? Who knows? Nikki Smalley says she's not a baddie in New Amsterdam. In fact, she's just Martha. She's even in love with the male lead. She wasn't in the ones that I saw. I only watched the first half of the first season.
I watched the first season. And I haven't watched the rest. And not that it was bad. It was all right. But
medical dramas don't do much for me generally. And if there's no sci-fi element, I sort of bail. I bail pretty quickly. Even if the scenery is this nice. But yeah, I think Freema Agyeman has absolutely got her fans here in the Doctor Who world, and we're glad to see. It was back to that old thing, isn't it, JT, of the actors and actresses that we liked in roles that endeared them to us. Now we're going off and doing nice things. When they've got the time to come back to the show, to the bosom of Doctor Who, brilliant. Otherwise, we do genuinely want to see them do good things and have further successes.
Maybe Dan, she did it in the pandemic when you know what I mean. She might, or did she do it recently?
He said 18 months, so that's before the pandemic.
Yeah, the audio was recorded allegedly in 2019. I haven't seen that confirmed, but that's what I've sort of read. I think it's time for some pretty pictures, everybody. What do you think?
Oh, good.
Let's have a look at some pretty pictures. Daleks, everybody. Daleks, and not the Prydonian this time. There is a pretender to the throne. Watch your back here, Prydonian, because this guy's in town. This is Ben Dewar over on Twitter, and what I can only describe, JT, as a pewter new series Dalek.
Yeah, I was just deciding on what to call it, and that's a great word, isn't it, pewter? Because it does look like that. It's I like that. It's nice. It's obviously based on the Russell T D design. But hopefully he might even look at moving on like Prydonian did to do his own versions.
Yeah, it's nice. It's really nice.
It's good. Yeah. It's a proper Dalek.
Yeah. It's difficult to understand, isn't it, Ian? With these Daleks have been on screen now for 16 years.
Yeah.
Okay, we've had a radical redesign a couple of times, but they've never really tweaked this, and they've never really given us much variations of colour, have they? The way that
they tried, didn't they? In the Matt Smith era, they tried to make. They looked terrible. The bigger ones.
We got the camouflage green one, didn't we? Come to think of it, now I've I'm going to go back on what I said here now.
And don't even talk to me about the latest looking Dalek. They are so awful.
But I'd love to see. Oh God! But I'd love to see these Daleks maybe in a blue or a red, like at the Pertwee style Dalek. That kind of color scheme, JT, that the Prydonian sometimes does.
Well, I like all that sort of stuff as well, and we were talking about how the Daleks could look in a series. I mean, that to me, what's up there from Ben Dewar is a warrior class Dalek, and then the colours would come in as they did in the comics with all the other classes of Daleks, whether it be Supreme or Commander or whatever. You could play with them, but I quite like this sort of colour on a Dalek because they can get into the shadows a little bit more, and they can just sneak out. And that's what always thrills me about remembering what Genesis of the Daleks was like for me when I was 5 years old. And seeing that grey thing coming out of the darkness with Davros, that whole scene of it stuck with me forever, that bit.
Particularly against the sort of the darkened skies of the war-torn sort of landscape of Skara. Sorry,
I got to admit though, I do like Russell T's Dalek in Dalek.
Yeah,
I think that was the first time I actually saw a Dalek as a threat. Of course, the Tom Baker era and the other eras, yes, they were threatening, but for me, Dalek was the one where actually made a Dalek threatening. You couldn't even fire a bullet at it. Do you know what I mean? They could float and
that was the whole point of that show, though, wasn't it? To show, well, hang on a minute, the Daleks have always been like this, but now we've actually got the technology and the money to show you.
And also the fact that it could read a computer and access the whole world while the web and everything just with that sucker thing. So it's pretty amazing. But anyway,
proper scary. They do. Their trouser browning, I think, is and they still do. They're still formidable designs. The little tweaks. I know that Ray Cusick wasn't very keen on the rivets, and I know why. But I still think this was the right design at the right time.
How did they do it? He does. Ray went on record saying he doesn't like anything like rivets, because how would the Dalek put a rivet onto another Dalek? I mean, he's got a point. Even the machines,
totally
alien
right.
technology, it should be sort of streamlined in that sense with none of those little touches. So I get what he's saying.
He's completely and utterly right. It makes no sense within the fiction at all.
Well, maybe Davros went to a world and made all these aliens crate them or something like that, or had a crate them all and whatever, and stick the Daleks in there. And so, I don't know. Yeah, you got to have a reason for the rivets, right? So anyway,
Vanessa Law, please, let's not mention the Skittles Daleks.
I see.
I am a Skittles Daleks apologist here. I have no.
You see, over here, Vanessa, we call them the Teletubby Daleks. What's Garbage on about now? What was he doing there? Behave, Garbage.
He's gone emoji happy there. He's joined the Rainbow Warriors. Yeah. Good luck, my friend. Good luck. We've got Digby Strawbridge says, like the new Who Daleks in a more trad color scheme.
Yes, Digby, I agree. Yeah.
That's pretty much what they are. But mentioning of the Skittles Daleks, that reminds me the next picture, because I found this when I found this guy's work, when I found Ben Dewar's work. I have to keep reminding me of the guy's name. That was the first image I saw, and then I saw this one. So how could I not bring this as well? This one is called the new Paradigm Saucer Command.
Wow.
And that's so there we have the Daleks. There we have those Daleks you were just talking about there, Ian. Yeah. So those are the classic 2005 Daleks there in gold, with one of the Skittles Daleks stood in the middle working the controls. They look like a nest, don't they? It's like a spider's nest.
Yeah, but how comes the fans always get it right and the people that like Doctor Who always get it right?
Because we know everything, mate. We know everything.
We absolutely do.
But that's amazing, right? That's such a great design. Look at the way he's designed the background and stuff and all that red light. I mean, they look threatening, right?
It's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. And the reason we get it right is because we understand the show more than some of these people, alleged professionals that come and take it on.
Wow.
And they're so frightening that, JT, I understand you've got to leave us too now, mate.
I do. It's that time. So thank you very much. Lovely to see you both. Bye, Facebookers. I will see you again. Enjoy the rest of the show and have a great rest of the evening. See you soon.
See you later, mate.
Thanks for coming, my friend. Yeah, you can talk about him now, everybody. Thanks to JT, as always, for joining us here on Type 40 Live. It wouldn't be the same without him, would it? Yeah, nah. I love the Daleks and I love all this artwork. So really, anybody out there that who's doing interesting things with Daleks or Cybermen or any other classic Doctor Who monsters online, whether they're on social media or maybe in their own Deviant, if they've got their own Deviant art page, we'd love to see, maybe get them on and to talk about it, because a lot of us are creatives involved with this show, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. Just bring it on. That's all I can say. Bring it on.
Absolutely, bring it on. Bye, JT. Say the chat. Joe's got more. Look at this. Anybody think they liked him? If you're watching this, JT, people are missing you already. Bye. But it does mean, and as Matt Pot says, fans have passion. Matt Pot watching there from Tasmania. Good morning, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
It's about 1 o'clock. 2 in the morning for Matt. Wow. Thanks for joining us there, because I have another picture to show. You're going to like this one, Ian. So a little while ago, in fact, I'm going to take the banner off. This is too pretty to sully. It's bad enough that it's going to have both our horrible mushes before it. So you remember a few weeks ago, we looked at a picture that was a scene, the original scene from the pilot episode of Doctor Who, that junkyard that started off this whole legend.
Yep.
And Clayton Hickman had gone in there and he had remastered the original image, tuned it up, and sort of just made it look better than ever, really. Well, he's gone back into it again and he's colorized it. So what we're going to look at now, this is the junkyard from the pilot remount. This picture was taken on Friday, the 18th of October, 1963. And what Clayton has done, he's spliced two pictures together to give us the sort of ultimate TARDIS shot from the recording of the pilot episode. So this, take a look at it.
Oh, wow.
So the black and white, obviously in black and white when you watch the pilot, Ian, you can't tell how small this set is and how it's been sort of thrown together. And some of it was probably hand painted. Clayton's gone in, he's colorized it here and sort of brought it all to extra life but it does show the 1963 production values, doesn't it?
It does. It's lovely. I mean, you know, I think it's as close as you can get if you were there on the day.
Yeah,
and that's probably what it would have looked like if you were on the set on the day. But yeah, wonderful picture.
Every tiny little detail. I think if you were to go in, you'd probably see considerably more. And obviously, he can't know for certain whether all of these colours are accurate, but by a process of elimination and by just thinking of something that's appealing to the eye, for us here, all these decades later, looking on, it's not a bad job at all. But in the process of doing this, obviously colorizing every little bit of the set, he managed to pick out some details that were hitherto unseen. So here's one of them, for example. This is on the left-hand side. What seems to be I'd say it's too big to be a drinking mug, isn't it? What would you say that is?
A policeman?
Yeah.
Is that a laughing policeman? I don't know, because it looks like, you know, the collars they used to have in those days in the 60s.
Yeah.
Policeman. Can't see any hat on his head though. It might not be a policeman.
I think that's sort of a blue helmet on the cap of his head there.
Oh right, maybe it is a policeman then. But it looks I mean, you know.
But I was trying to work out if that was a handle on the back of his head. Maybe it was something to drink out of, like a flagon of ale.
Yeah, might be. It might be, but yeah, I mean, it looks like a policeman. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a laughing policeman. I don't know, coffee mug or something.
Absolutely incredible what Clayton's doing over on Twitter. So if you haven't already, I know we say this most times we come on this show, go and follow Clayton Hickman over on Twitter and support his work. He puts out merchandise too on T-shirts and things like cushion covers and tapestries, and I think he even does some TARDIS Roundels wallpaper. I think I could do with some of that. Behind me
in
on
the background,
yeah. I'm still working on my new studio. Everybody, that's coming soon. What else have we got here? We've got several people still chatting here. I'm not sure what Sarah's talking about here.
Don't know.
Sarah's got a friend who does some gorgeous artwork with the Eagle Moss figures. They're that good, you can't even tell they're all figures. He's also featured in a Doctor Who book. That's what happens. People use these models and action figures and use them to create dioramas or fantasy photography, or even tell their own stories with them. I think that's immensely creative. I can see
a lot of Doctor Who fans out there.
Yeah, very creative people. Megan Eurobytes watching in the chat too says, I can see a time in the future when people like Clayton, etc., will be able to digitize 3D models of scenes and enable fans to walk around them in VR. Boom!
That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Absolutely mind-blowing, Megan Eurobyte. Yeah, thanks for that. And thanks to all of you for joining us this afternoon for Type 40 Live. It's been a cracking show. Our first show back for a couple of weeks. But yeah, if you can't get enough, if you think, are they going already? Then you can go back, because we have had lots of new subscribers over the last 2 or 3 weeks. So the good news is, if you've enjoyed this show, this is your first Type 40 Live. In fact, we have had big numbers for this show. Then you'll be pleased to learn there are, how many now? Nearly 30 other live streams with myself, Ian, with JT, with Simon, with Starry-Eyed Girl, and various other of our friends from all across fandom, people like Barnaby Jago, all coming in to talk to us about Doctor Who and lots of different aspects of it live, with a live chat. So, yeah, we're going to have to update this graphic pretty soon. This was Series 1, where we've got Bob Baker and Paul Tamsin to talk about K9. Of course, they make all the official K9 stuff. Had several guests in since. Lots more of the shows, and you do not want to miss the Type 40 podcast itself. You can stream or download Type 40 from type40.podbean.com. That's its designated official home. It's a master feed, or it's on Spotify, TuneIn, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and here on YouTube in both audio and some of them now in video form. These are the latest 2 episodes that we put out. Again, thank you for watching these whilst we were away, whilst the live stream was away. People watched and enjoyed these videos. I've had a lot of feedback from them. Thank you so much. We are looking at making more of the podcasts in video form too. It doesn't always work because some of the people that we speak to, they either haven't got webcams, or they just don't want to be on camera. They would rather do the audio stuff. We've got to respect that. But we combine the two formats wherever we can. What else is coming up on the channel? What else? Let's remind people. What else? Yeah, a bit of this. And yeah, lots of our other shows. There's Teleport, a Blake 7 podcast. That's coming back soon, along with Hard Drive, which is our general sci-fi podcast that myself and Ian do with the Rabbi from Another Planet and Keith Isles from Home Media Minefield. You don't want to miss out on that. We'll be back with more Type 40 Live next week.
Yeah.
Going to keep you waiting to see what the subject of that is about. It's not that I don't know, but I do know. We may have a guest next week. We're waiting to see how that's all going to get ironed out. Lots to come between now and when Doctor Who itself comes back to screens sometime in the autumn. We're going to keep coming with these live streams. We're going to get you there and then drop you off for you to decide whether you're going to watch it or not. Let's have one last look in the chat. Retro Dicky says, great stream. Thanks to the panel. Thank you, Retro Dicky. Thanks for being here and watching.
Yeah.
And where can I get a copy of that picture? I'll sort you out with that, Vanessa. You just remind me.
Cheers, Vanessa.
That's got to be made on a T-shirt. I agree. And as Matt Potts says, it never, ever gets old. I can't argue with that. I'm getting old. I'm getting hungry. Time for my tea too. Ian, thanks for joining me on this, this first show back. We've vented a little bit, haven't we? We've chewed our way through the latest Doctor Who morsels, but we got there in the end. We do hope you've enjoyed it too. So, yeah, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Check out those podcasts, and there'll be more videos dropping in the week, no doubt, here on the channel. Like the video. Share it along to other people if you have enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel. Got to keep reminding people to do that because we are getting lots of views, but people don't subscribe unless they've been here a few times. People watch without subscribing. Let's sort that out. Let's get subscribed. Let's get out there and have some more fun. Yeah, sub. Yes, thank you, everybody, for your time. That's it for now. See you next week. Here back on the Facebook channel for more Type 40 Live next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.